So here's the biggest question that I'm getting right now. What does this update actually mean? Well, ladies and gentlemen, what it means is PvP is just going to be changed. Is it going to be changed for the better or the worse? We don't know. Again, it's in a testing phase. But here's the biggest thing. The time to kill, from what I'm looking at in numbers and stuff I've crunched, the time to kill will not change. It's actually going to increase on some builds, which means more survivability. That's what most of this means. Even with the damages that are coming to these weapons, as I'll show later on, you're really just looking at more time to kill on certain builds. Not all of them, but certain ones. And we can break that down with what they're showing in just some of the photos to make it easier for you to see versus understand with builds and other things that people are being tested, because if this stuff doesn't stay, there's no point in showing stuff like that. So let's just show you some photos of what they're using to explain. So before you just go start investing in any other YouTuber, even myself, if anybody is out here saying meta, new build, godlike, immortal, all that kind of stuff, please remember, take everything you see right now with a grain of salt, because this is a testing phase. This shit could change tomorrow. So with that being said,
now, what shall we talk about?
so I figured let's just start off with the best part of the news, to me personally, and to some other YouTubers and everything else, where it's basically all the exotics are going to get on their third attribute, the very bottom one. You get to roll whatever you want. Now, while some YouTubers and everybody else out here sits there and says that the EB works better with the headshots, while the damage for a headshot is more than what you would get for damage targets out of cover, this now is going to allow people who prefer to use things like the EB, where you don't land headshots if you're not good at landing headshots. Now you can actually put the beams on their chest and get damage out. But it's not just that one, there's other ones notable like these. Now there's tons of other exotics in here. I could put up photos of that stuff all day long, of ones that are going to be changed and what we're going to change them probably to. Most of these are, honest to God, going to get damage targets out of cover. If it's an LMG and it's already got that, you're probably going to put damage to armor on there, especially the Bullet King. That one right there literally just got a good damage boost, because now you're not having to worry about the critical hit damage. You can put damage to armor on there when it's already got damage targets out of cover and get more damage out of it. Just think about the possibilities of all these exotics. Now before I go on, please just hear me out on this. If they're changing these, there is some stuff I would like to see, maybe not right now, maybe in the future, God willing, but especially things like, say, the gloves, the exotic gloves. It would be nice if I could turn those into an all blue Hasbro Armor Regen and armor, because that way I could put those on a bonk build and turn that into probably the strongest bonk of them all. But right now they have crit chance, critical hit damage, and weapon damage. God willing, the developers see this, and maybe they take that as a suggestion that we could roll anything the way we want. Not just these exotic weapons, but maybe some of the exotics. Like, what's the point in having health on Sawyer's knee pads? We would really like to have that changed.
Oh, fucking wait!
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
Now, some fixes that we need to go over is one like this right here, the gear lock. Now, I'm hoping, again, praying to God, that this only works against the gear itself and that they don't mess it up, even though, yes, it does say gear. Let's hope it doesn't lock it down to a weapon, because if you have, say, like a Nemesis, and you don't want the Nemesis, but you want to switch it off to a shotgun or an AR or something like that, if it locks that down, then that kind of screws over the player. Hopefully they make sure that this is right, and it only locks it down to the gear. And yes, it does say gear, but we've seen how the developers do mess up some things. Let's just pray to God that it does that, because I believe that's going to stop any potential, say, like chest swapping type bugs that we've seen before, and stop that from ever happening again.
I got it earlier, you had a really happy face. Now you got a fucked off one.
Now, another fix, which the developers prior said they could not fix because it was part of the game, apparently is getting fixed, so that's going to make some PvP a lot more better. Again, if you want to use it, I was always kind of for this one because it was in the game. You couldn't fix the mechanic. But knowing that they can now fix it makes me question the developers just why they said that they couldn't fix it in the first place if they're going to be fixing it. Now, if it means this one or the other one that's over by DZ East at the back where you could shoot off the left side of a wall, that's going to be wait to be seen because, again, they said it was part of a mechanic that they couldn't fix and now they can. But either way, that's a great fix for the game. This makes it where the player has to come out from a corner and you have to shoot, so you do have a target to shoot and take them down. So this is a great fix. Now with this one right here in the PTS, I did see a video. I did not happen to get it recorded. I believe the person may have taken it down. Maybe I was wrong, something like that. But they did show, and I did physically see it. But because of this update part right here, we're taking the kill requirement away, it was stopping the kill requirement on gear and weapons. So for instance, if I go and I take this right here, like the Dark Winter, which required a kill to get the critical hit damage. When they messed with this right here, it took the kill requirement from that and made it to where you instantaneously got that damage. The same was doing with Clutch and other things similar to that. So there is already a bug out there causing this right here. Now, whether they already realized it or maybe the video was messed up or whatever, no one knows. I had the video earlier, I saw it, but if I can find it again, I will definitely record it, put it in a short, and show everybody that there's already a bug in the game.
Oh, great heavens!
So now we're going to get into some of the damages and trying to understand this, because while some people are trying to show that the time to kill will decrease because of the weapons damages, they're neglecting to realize that even on some of these builds, especially like regen builds that I've seen so far, is really the only thing that's got any more survivability. As you can see right here, we got some extra regen. We also get some extra hazard protection. So it's going to give those players that more survivability at the end of the game, but we still get more skill damage, more skill status, even though they said they were going to decrease that. So even though they take away from one, we get more back of the other. Even explosive damage, we get a little bit more. Right now, from what I understand, that's only, what, 15% or 10%, so we're going up to 20. So again, we're not going to lose our time to kill. It's dropped down a little bit, but we're not going to be doing anything. Because again, as you see, we got armor regen. We've got extra armor regen of 3%. So you can get an extra 5 versus having 2. So you're only going to be getting like 3% more armor regen if you combine the two. So that's still going to be even better at the end of the day. Now, sorry, it's 2 and 3 at the end of the day. Not too much more, but still, if you compare them what they have right now, it's 3% overall total added to your build. Now, some of these ARs, as you see, they're getting extra damage. Some of them are getting magazine size. Even the SMGs are getting the same. Some are getting RPMs and everything else. So it's going to increase your damages. Rifles, the one I'm kind of interested in is the M16A2. But the ones that I don't understand are the marksman rifles. While they get more damage, and that's fine, one of them is getting optimal range, and that one honestly doesn't make sense to me. So at the end of the day, your time to kill has not really increased if they give you more survivability. It also gives you more stuff to stop status effects. It may increase it just a tad bit because, again, you have to realize that even this 30% increase, if you were to take that to the DZ, gets dropped down by almost, I think the last I looked was the numbers were almost 33%. So they took away that 30% drop, kind of gave you something back and gave you little bitty pieces. So while I'm not trying to burst some people's bubbles, at the end of the day, they're trying to polish out a turd and turn it into a Tootsie Roll. But again, I'm still super stoked. I'm happy. These are some of the changes that we've been asking for in the DZ, PvP, conflict, and things like that. And throughout the years of this game, everybody's gotten more for PvE than PvP has ever gotten. So this update, I'm not going to knock it too much, but it's a great thing. This is going to change some builds. Will it change all of them? Probably not. The only one I'm really seeing based on the numbers and everything else will mainly just be getting extra regen from your builds, and more damage out of certain weapons that we've been wanting to see more damage, so they would make them more useful. So we will be looking later on and doing a full breakdown when the game actually does update and they don't have any more PTS and we get a physical thing to do, and that's going to change up a lot of stuff, hopefully for the better. But we'll see how it goes. Again, grain of salt.